Join me on this episode 8 as we complete the last section of New Mexico and head to the Colorado border. Much time is spent on snow-covered trails above 10,000 feet, battling icy climbs and freezing conditions as I celebrate completing New Mexico. This will be the first state done, now with only 4 more to go. The alarm went off at 4:45 a.m. for today. Chip Crusher and I are heading back out onto the trail. The reason for the early start is because we are catching the RTD Blue Bus from Chama back down Highway 84 to near Ghost Ranch, where I left the trail 5 days ago. Chip Crusher gets a 6-mile or 10-kilometre head start on me today because he took the official CDT route, which cuts across the highway closer to Chama than where I met the highway after taking the Ghost Ranch alternate. The bus driver is a fantastic help because he drops us both off at our desired spots despite them not being at the designated bus stops. This saves me an extra 4 kilometres or 2.5 miles than if I had to go all the way back down the highway to the Ghost Ranch entrance, so I'm very thankful. After leaving the bus, it is time to turn around and head back the very way I've just come from. I know, but what do you do? But to complete the CDT in the true spirit of my hike, it requires a continuous set of footprints, so no skipping any miles is allowed. Just got dropped off at my spot. This is the RTD bus. He's just dropped me off at the unconventional spot, but where I came out onto the highway first time last Friday, so we're about to head back. We've got about a 5-mile walk back up the hill, back up that way into the canyon, and hopefully I'll catch up with Chip Crusher. He's up the road. I'm back out at it. Pack is very heavy. Got 6 days worth of food, plus the snowshoes on top. And I've got about a 5-mile walk straight up this hill on Highway 84 to catch back up with a CDT. But we're off and back into it. This is an Echo amphitheatre at the background there. Just thought I'd let you know I'm back out with new shoes, bigger size, plus I'm got new sock system. I'm going with Injinji running socks with darn tough wool socks over the top. So hopefully that'll keep the blisters at bay. The other thing I was going to say is it's interesting being back out here after 5 or 6 days off, waiting for the snowshoes to come. It takes a little bit of getting used to the weight on the back and just the walking along, the slowness of the miles compared to just driving where we've got to. But hopefully by tomorrow we'll be back into it. I'm hoping it will only take 5 days to return to Chama, but I'm heading into the great unknown as far as the snow on the trail is concerned. Most of the trail is above 10,000 feet going forward, so I'm sure I'm going to run into snow. The question is just how much. It is lunch on day 1 back on the trail. Done 24.5 k's, been going for 5.5 hours. For some reason today my feet are killing me. Normally every morning it feels like someone's taken to them with a baseball bat in the night, but after 5 minutes that usually goes away. But today every step is pain for some reason. It's a bit like, I guess, what I said before. Maybe it's just a case of back on the trail after 5 days off, they're not used to it. Hopefully they'll get back into it. Anyway, I've got one thing that will hopefully make it all better. As soon as they all like my Spam lunch, what about this? Subway, yes. Packed it out last night. So, got a, don't even know what I've got. How's this for a change of scenery? As we leave the Ponderosa Pines, and we enter an aspen forest. What a stark change. I'm high on an alpine meadow, and you can see there's quite a few of those ghostly looking aspen trees. We're up above 9,000 feet now, and the trail for about the next 10 or 15 miles really only climbs another 1,000 feet, so we're up high now for quite a while. Interesting to see if we come into much snow in the next day. Starting to see a little bit of snow. Here is camp for tonight. I lost Chip Crusher the last hour or so. I'm not sure whether I'm in front of him or behind him. I think I got in front somehow. We'll see if he turns up tomorrow. It is a glorious day. It's a great feeling being high up in this alpine world. The trees are magic, there is green alpine grass sprouting everywhere, and the sky is a beautiful blue. And just to make the day even better, my feet seem to have made a miraculous recovery. While they ached all night, they've come good this morning, thankfully. I'm not sure where Chip Crusher is up to. I waited around somewhat this morning expecting him to come past my camp, but I don't know what's happened. I assume he's still behind me, but you never know, he could be in front. How's this for a multiple roadblock? And I look at all this green grass. I wonder whether you can just hear that woodpecker then. I was going to say, when I look at all this green grass, it's hard to believe I'm still in New Mexico. When you cast your mind back what it was like down in the boot heel. It's 18 degrees Celsius already, or 64 Fahrenheit, at 8:30 AM. And even last night it was almost warm. It only got down to a low of 4 degrees Celsius or 39 Fahrenheit. The day has started off really well. The trail for the most part is quite muddy, however. With so much snow melting, it's understandable. The water has to go somewhere and it uses the trail as its watercourse. Often the trail is a little stream as the water cascades down from the mountains. I continue along this alpine meadow and encounter only a few patches of snow here and there. The trail heads up along a mountain track while I continue to gain elevation. In places it is so wet and muddy it forces me up off the road to go cross country. Sometimes it's just too slippery. I do wonder though, as I climb higher, how long it will be before the snow reappears. I figure it will be sooner rather than later. But I also figure I'm so lucky to be hiking at nearly 10,000 feet with barely any snow really to worry about at all, especially this early in the season. This one looks a little bit tricky. Not horribly deep, but flowing pretty quick. There's a bit of a fallen log jam there. I reckon that's the place to get across. Getting high up in the mountains now, over 10,000 feet. Carson National Forest. Oh, look at that. Golden honey. Honey cured spam. Is that fantastic or what? Alright, this is lunch. So good. The day's been incredible. I'm up above 10,000 feet. Patches of snow, a little bit. There's only a couple of times where I had to go up to my sort of hips, but really that was only for very short distances. Considering we're up so high, it's amazing that there's not more snow around, but it's about 20 degrees today and the weather's been really good for so long, so the snow melt's been going at a great rate, I guess. So we've still got a bit of climbing to go today. Again, I'm sort of always waiting to see when the snow does turn up, but so far so good. Just as I'm about to head back on trail, I decide to walk back down the hill a small ways to see if there's any sign of chip crusher. And lo and behold, there he is coming around a bend. This is somewhat of a relief because I know the deep snow cannot be too far away now. I'm at 10,117 feet or 3,083 metres and climbing higher. I figure there is safety in numbers and it's great knowing Chip Crusher is not too far away. As we head higher, there are patches of snow which we traverse. At first it is not a big deal as they are only short, but soon they start to become longer and the stretches become deeper. Check out this little snow bridge. So I got across just here. Well, if you look there, that's what's underneath. The dilemma with snowshoes is, do you put them on but then risk having to take them off just a little bit further up the trail? However, it doesn't take long for the decision to be made for us. The snow is now very deep and soft. There is too much post-holing going on. So we might as well put these snowshoes to good use rather than carry them on the back of our packs. Pretty quickly they become invaluable. For the next 2.5 miles it is slow going. Even with the snowshoes, it's hard work. The snow is so deep and just too soft in the afternoon sun. Chip Crusher has a much larger set of snowshoes, which is meant to give you more flotation over the snow. But even he is going in a good foot or more in places. We battle on as best we can, but realise the day is nearing its end and we start looking for a campsite. I wonder if one will appear, or will we have to camp on the snow? In this high open range, it's snow as far as the eyes can see. We have to make two precarious creek crossings. The first is managed to cross a snow bridge, but the second is too wide. The only option is to wade on into the water. I don't bother worrying about my feet as they are already soaking wet from the snow. At first it doesn't seem too bad, but on exiting the freezing water does its thing. Wow, that is cold. But just like the Gila River, the best way to warm up is keep on moving.
Oh, that's cold.
We keep going, and at 4:30 p.m. a large enough bare patch of ground appears, and it is reasonably flat. I suggest we make camp here because you don't know what it's going to be like further on. Plus, we are really not making much headway this late in the day. Better to camp now and tackle the snow some more in the morning. Hopefully it will be much more amenable then. So we pitch our tents, Chip Crusher gets a fire going to warm us up. Dinner of beef stew is made, a Mountain House dehydrated meal. It's actually pretty good. It at least looks healthy, I think. There's lots of colours in there, green peas, orange carrots, plus potatoes and supposedly beef. It was pretty tasty even. My feet are cold, so it's time to warm them up in bed. Here is our camp for tonight. Finally found a little patch that's bare of snow. We've even got a little campfire going to warm us up. It's time for a rest and to get ready to tackle the snow all over again tomorrow. Despite camping at 10,500 feet and being amongst the snow, it only got down to 0 degrees Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit. We got up early-ish to make as much headway on the snow as possible rather than sinking into it like yesterday. The trail is starting to go 50-50 now. Snow and dirt, muddy road. Hopefully as we keep descending, we'll get less of the snow and more of the road. The snow turns patchy as we start to descend, and soon the trail makes way for snow melt and mud. But it is not too long before we enter back into alpine forest. I'm on what could be the most enjoyable of trails, downhill through alpine forest with shade from the beautiful aspen trees, fantastic scenery, the freshest of fresh alpine air, and a glorious blue sky, sun-shining day. I'm amazed at how quickly the scenery can change. This morning and yesterday afternoon it was just snow as far as the eye can see, and it looked like it was going to go on forever. Now it is all beautiful alpine aspen forest. What about this for a little minefield? We've set up camp here at our campground. We have got luxury dining tonight. We've got a picnic table. We've got our own private water source just over there. Chip Crusher. I'm having spaghetti and meatballs. What are you having tonight?
I'm having a ramen bomb with Spam.
What's a ramen bomb?
A ramen bomb is where you take ramen noodles and you boil them up like normal, and then you add in, for the excess water, you add in like a potato packet in there and you fill it in. And you just throw some Spam in there, and that's a ramen. The Spam's optional, but the ramen bomb is ramen noodles, a potato packet, blend it up.
You gotta have the Spam. Can't beat it. So Chip Crusher, what is the story with the name Chip Crusher? I've had lots of people ask me what's that all about.
Well, I got that trail name on the Arizona Trail last year, and I was hiking into a small town. I can't think of it off the top of my head right now, but it was a small town, and they only had a Dollar General and a Circle K to resupply from, which is a gas station. And when I got to the Dollar General, they were pretty cleaned out of hiker food. So I ended up picking up 3 family-sized bags of chips and bringing that back with me, and I got some other stuff, but the chips was the main thing, and I brought it back to the motel there. And there was another hiker there. I was sitting there crushing up my chips just to get them to fit in my bag because they're full of air, and that's how I ended up with the name Chip Crusher.
Very good. We are camped here at the Hopewell Lake campground. Got Chip Crusher coming over here. Got a table and chairs. Little pond just in the back there. Snow melt water. Got our own personal bins. Even got our own toilet. It's actually unlocked. And over there, we've got my little tent set up. Can you believe we only have 40 miles to reach the New Mexico-Colorado border? I certainly can't. Hopefully, depending on the upcoming snow situation, that will only take us 2 days. Then it is back to Chama to resupply once again and to start seriously thinking about how to tackle Colorado. Because the snow and elevation in New Mexico are just the little league compared to Colorado. Exciting times ahead. We head off out of Hopewell Lake Campground at 6:15 a.m. and cross over Highway 64. We continue in forest with it being wet and muddy underfoot. With so much snow melting, the water finds it easier to just course down the trail. I'm climbing a little bit, but for the most part, the trail is at 10,000 feet plus or minus. There are 2 11,000 peaks between here and the border, but they come tomorrow. There's places like this on the trail where it's very difficult to avoid the water. As I reach 10,400 feet, the snow is ever encroaching on the trail. At first it was a little bit patchy, but now it is definitely trying to take over. The snow is tricky and deceiving. Some patches I fly over and others give the impression they have a hard crust, but deep in I fall. It is this inconsistency that makes you always mindful as you tread warily across the snow. Hopefully across it anyway, rather than through it. I'm here at 10,000 feet of elevation, and look at this wide open space. So bright and green here. There's a squirrel up there that's not happy about invading his territory. The trail turns off a forest track and heads into the trees, so it's snowshoes on and it's back to work trudging through the snow. This section is short-lived, however, so it's off with the pack, snowshoes off and then strapped to the top of the pack, and then pack back on again and off I go once more. Sometimes in these patchy areas it's just easy to post-hole through the snow where you have to and continue at a better pace when on the ground. The trail follows the Rio San Antonio as it meanders down the canyon. At the bottom, I'm forced to cross through the river, as it is running fast and just a bit too wide to jump. So it's wet shoes and socks as we begin to hike up the other side. How would you like to be the rabbit living down this hole? Do you know what the worst thing is about swapping out your wet socks at lunchtime for some nice new dry ones? Getting to this river and having to go straight back in again. This is the way ahead, and if I look back across over here, this is the mountain we've come over that ridge, and we zigzag back down through those trees, and we followed the canyon down, followed the river along, and we followed it downstream somewhat before we cut across the river where you saw I got my feet wet, and then have climbed back up this side. High up, I travel along a mountainside just below the ridgeline. The wind is howling out to my left. The only plus is that it is blowing me onto the mountain rather than trying to blow me off it. The trail tracks extremely close to the edge in places, so I'm at least glad for the wind's help with keeping me away from the edge. Here is a good look at the trail I've just come down on the other side. So I come over this mountain and traverse down along here. See the trail there, and it goes down towards a little creek which I've just crossed. And that's where I've just come from. And if I go back, at the moment I'm at 9,960 feet. Got 2.4 miles to end the day at the next campground, and it's up at about 10,560 feet. So about 4 k's and 200 or 300 metres of elevation to gain. Chip Crusher and I are treated to possibly the best known trail magic ever. Big call, I know. How's this for incredible though? Here we meet Gerald, Jose, Angela and Benjamin. These guys have travelled up here on ATV quad bikes from Taos. They call us over and ask if we would like something to eat. Of course we do. So we've just made it to Lower Lagunitas campground, and look what we've just come across. Shrimp and steak on the barbie. Can you believe it? How good are these people? Now Benjamin is a professional chef, and on the open fireplace he has pan-fried prawns in a garlic and butter sauce. How's that for a starter? Next up, for main course, we have grilled steak with asparagus, mushrooms, onions, potatoes and jalapenos. And to top it all off, incredibly, he brings out some creme brulee in their own little terracotta pots. Unbelievable. Who would have thought that after hiking 20 miles or 32 k's to a campground in the middle of nowhere, we would be treated to a 3-course meal. These guys were very welcoming and wonderful hosts. Just great people. It is time for us to head off as they are packing up to go home. We are given doggy bags of food to have for later. We fetch water from the nearby lake and head up to the next campground. Like last night, we are treated to a campground with tables and benches plus a toilet. These are very welcome luxuries, I tell you. Even better, as we are up high on the edge of a huge lookout, we are treated to phone service as well. With a fantastic meal and Chip Crusher's massive fire, we are all warmed up and ready for bed. For tomorrow, Colorado awaits.
This is the way forward. So we're going to cut over here to the right, and then we're going up onto that ridge line, and we're heading all the way across the top of that. Interesting times ahead.
Thanks.
Having a good day?
Yeah.
Don't you love snow?
Oh yeah. Just a blast.
I'm currently up at 11,000 feet, and that, folks, out there in the distance, is our first view of Colorado. The trail goes through here somewhere. It's hard work trying to find it. Seriously, how do you find your way through this?
The day has been somewhat frustrating in parts because the snow makes things so much harder. When the snow is patchy, it is a case of snowshoes on, and then it's not long before they need to come off, and no sooner on again. Combined with the problems of navigating my way through a very dense forest with no visible trail, it certainly tests you. It makes for a very slow day, and after 4.5 hours, I've only managed 11 kilometres or 7 miles.
According to this sign, I'm only 3 miles from the New Mexico-Colorado border, but by the trail we've still got 11 miles to go, so still got a bit of work to do today. Seems though it's sort of lunchtime already. It's been very slow going through the snow. I just had a reasonable little bit of snow free walking across the top of that ridge line. Very windy, but at least we've got a little bit of momentum happening, but we'll keep pushing on. That is the ridge line which we came over. So the trail now is just traipsing across this wet bogland. Doesn't matter where you go, it's either very slippery, sticky mud, or the trail's filled up with water. And if you go off to the side, it's just all waterlogged, all snow melt just coming down off the mountain. But only 8 miles to go to the border.
It's like 80-degree water.
Where else would you rather be?
I'd rather be at the beach.
With snow melting on all sides, the valley floor is one giant mix of streams, marshlands, and a watery, slippery, and muddy bog. There is no way around it, so it's just straight on through. My shoes are soaked and mud gets caked on, but each snow patch acts as the perfect shoe cleaner. This swapping from filthy, dirty to wet but cleanish shoes goes on and on. Finally, we start to head back upwards and away from the wetlands. This is the beginning of the highest peak for the day, where we ascend to an elevation of 11,040 feet. With snowshoes on, it makes for a very long, slow climb. I'm lucky to be doing 2 kilometres or 1.25 miles per hour. As it is later in the day, the snow is now wetter and slushier. There are lots of falls, especially when my snowshoes disappear underneath a hidden log. The worst is a face plant with my legs in the snow up to my knees, and then my outstretched arms with poles in hand buried up to my shoulders. It takes some doing getting back upright from that position, let me tell you. It was certainly not a pretty sight. This is our campsite for tonight. We decided to cut it short. We're only about 3 miles still to go to the border, but the snow is very soft. So I thought we might as well, no point rushing. We'll just take it easy tonight and get up and do it in the morning while the snow is hard. And just to show you how good our campsite is, we even got our own ready-made water source right here. Yes, this little snowmelt puddle. Water's crystal clear, beautiful. There's Chip Crusher's tent down there. Off to an early start this morning, trying to get as much done as we can this morning while the snow is much more accommodating compared to yesterday's slushy mush. Today is the day when I get to complete the first state on this hike of the Continental Divide Trail. I have less than 4 miles or 7 kilometres to go in the state of New Mexico. Again, we are up and at it reasonably early to make the journey as easy as possible on the snow. Despite the overnight cold temperature of -3 degrees Celsius or 27 Fahrenheit, it is not even 2 kilometres or 1.25 miles before the snowshoes have to come out. Just another obstacle we face. This is Dixie Creek, and it is my last creek crossing in New Mexico. Only got about 1 mile to go. Here is the border, leaving New Mexico, entering Colorado. Woohoo! Made it. I turn a corner and see Chip Crusher taking his pack off, and I'm slow to realise we are at the border. As I cross into Colorado, it's congratulations all round. Wow, I can't believe I've made it. That's 1 state down and 4 more to go.
All right, here comes Damien. He's heading into Colorado.
Made it.
Welcome to Colorado, baby.
Thank you, well done.